Not quite what I expected when I got up this morning. But that's British weather for you. We were supposed to be getting sleet. And last time I checked, this was not sleet. Because we've had such a change in weather, it's definitely worth popping into the garden and just checking on those plants. And once again, I'll be to keep my eye on that. That collapsed last year because of weight of snow. It bent all those hoops. So if this carries on for much longer, I'm going to have to take that net off. It's certainly not showing any signs of stopping. Let's see what's happening in this greenhouse. Well, apart from it being quite dark, everything actually looks fine. No problems with these carrots. A couple of yellowing leaves, but that's not such a problem. It's amazing just how quick the British weather can change. We've had some rain, we've had bad winds, we've had some really nice sunny days, temperatures into double figures, and then today, this snow, which, as I mentioned at Way Up Garden, was supposed to be nothing more than a bit of sleet. Guess they got it wrong once again. So it's definitely worthwhile when the weather changes like this, just to pop out and check things. And as I said, once again, coming up garden, I've got to keep my eye on that hoop tunnel. If you saw the video last year, you'll remember that we had a 35-foot long hoop tunnel, and it snowed so much that it kinked every pipe. Fortunately, plastic has got a memory, so if you take the weight off it and then put it in your shed or something, it eventually goes back into shape, unless of course the weight splits the plastic and then you've got to replace it. So to avoid any extra cost, I'm just going to keep my eye on this weather today, and if needs be, I'll just pull all that netting off. We haven't actually got anything growing in there at the moment, so that's not such a problem. But as we're getting ready for spring, we don't want to start off with damaged hoop tunnels that we have to start and rebuild all over again, so it's definitely worth doing. And I think I'm just going to do it now. At least then I know that is done, and all I have to do is take the weight off that net and everything else will be perfectly fine. Let's sort it out. Certainly not the best job in the world to be doing in this weather, but needs must. The sooner I can do it, the sooner I can get back indoors. Well, now that's done, I'm going to head back into the greenhouse where it's a little warmer. Very cold on hands doing jobs like that, but it's going to save anything getting damaged. That's what's important. We're building up to get everything sorted, ready for that new season, and today it just seems that little bit farther away. At least everything in this greenhouse is okay. We've got no problems with any of his plants. These, again, sweet peas, perfectly alright, very healthy little plants. And it's just a few degrees warmer in this greenhouse than it is out there, and that's all it takes, a little bit of protection. That goes a long way when it comes to your early season plants. These have had no fleece on them, something I might have to rethink over the next few days if this weather persists. But it's not so much the snow, it's the temperature, and it's not even below zero at the moment. But if it does drop below zero, I have still got the fleece under the bench, so it's a case of just throwing it over the top and the jobs are good. And there's not much else happening here. That's that little pot of lettuce we've been growing. It's still trying to grow, and I can see that there's a mixture of red and yellow lettuce in there. Perfectly healthy little plants, but growing at a very slow pace. I'll show you something that actually surprised me, because I've had so many questions from people asking if it's okay to just leave the peppers outside now, which is a definite no. Peppers cannot stand the cold at all, and if you start dropping down to minus temperatures, your plants are going to die, and they take quite a long time to germinate and to grow, which is why we start them early in the season. So you don't want to keep your peppers outdoors. You run risk of losing all of them. But having said that, if you remember on his last video, we was repotting peppers, and I repotted them all into 9cm pots, and I got them straight back indoors where it's nice and warm, back under those lights to encourage extra growth. But I did make a little mistake. I forgot one, and it's right here on this bench, and it's been quite a few days since we did that, and as you can see, the weather is horrible. It's quite cold, and this little pepper, this very young plant, has been sat in this greenhouse day and night. And that's that pepper. There is nothing wrong with it at all. And it's even very dry. It's as light as a feather because it's had no watering. But that could be something that's contributed towards saving this plant. If there's no moisture in this compost, when the temperatures do drop down quite low, it won't freeze, or it won't freeze as quick, and this one's not frozen, but the plant looks perfectly fine. But it is still going back indoors. I'm going to put it there where I can see it. But it's definitely amazing to see that such a small pepper plant has managed over the last few days, day and night, at this time of year. But don't leave your peppers in your greenhouse. It's just not worth the risk. Everything else is fine. The garlic, although quite dormant at the moment, no discoloration, looking really healthy. The weather out there is completely rubbish, but what we need to do is also check on those beans. Recently we put broad beans in a greenhouse, and to offer them a little protection we cut the bottoms off some plastic bottles, put them over the top, creating a little microclimate, an extra layer of protection, or a greenhouse within a greenhouse. And I haven't checked those for a few days, so I'm just going to pop in that greenhouse and see how they're getting on as well before I head back indoors with this little pepper plant. So we're back out of that snow once again. These are his plants, and I think that those bottles have done the job. There doesn't seem to be any damage to them. His main concern was slugs, but obviously they can't get in there. But these plants look perfectly healthy. The cold's not bothering them, and we know that they're very cold hardy plants, so it looks like everything is good there. I gave them a quick water a few days ago, and I've not watered them since because they won't need it. But I'm glad to see that at least these plants are managing. We just need to keep his eye on this. These plants are still growing, although at a very slow pace, and this one is nearly at the top of that bottle. So we need to keep his eye on that, because we don't want to leave it to grow inside there and then start bending that stem. So we'll have to rethink it very soon. maybe I'll just net them all. But again, very resilient plants. So now we've sorted out that hoop tunnel, there's not really much or anything to be done today, especially outdoors. At least we know that's safe now. And so is everything else. We can't do anything in this sort of weather, and we definitely don't want to either. Last thing we need is a cold. I better shut that door because I forgot. So that's it for another video, definitely today. We've sorted out what we need to sort out, as plants are doing perfectly alright with this added bit of protection. And this resilient little pepper is coming back in with me. So if you want to see what we're going to be doing, once this snow's passed, please hit that subscribe button, press that notifications bell, and I look forward to seeing you very soon. And if you do get bored because of this weather, and there's not much for you to do, then check out this quiz channel. We've got a lot of quizzes on there of different varieties, so something to keep you going, keep your cogs turning, just until it's time to start sowing more seeds. I'll leave a link to that channel in description. Take care.